For today, we're going to talk about fractions question, the big topic. Now, by and large, for most fraction questions, we will solve it using model drawing. And of course, model drawing, there must be a way for you to draw it. Generally, there are two. It's either you draw it forward from the first information, the second, the third, the fourth, or you draw it backwards from the last information and then step by step work your way to the front. So let's try out this question and see which way are we going to draw it from. Question 1. May and Jane had a total of $750 at first. May spent 2/5 of her money on the tablet. Jane's father gave her $90. In the end, Jane had 1/3 of the amount May had left. How much money did Jane have at first? Therefore, the keywords at first. Let me highlight it instead. At first. Generally, most of the time, all right, let me have a disclaimer, most of the time, when a question asks you to find a value at first, it means you must work your way backwards. All right, that means you're going to draw your model backwards, all the way from the last information, step by step, all the way to the front. That is usually the way. So let's try it out. What is the last information that was given to us? In the end, Jane had 1/3 of the amount May had left. So the way to identify is that Jane will have the numerator, May will get the denominator. Okay, so this is how you decipher this statement, all right? When there's a fraction in between two objects, items, or people, the first one they mention will take on the numerator, and the one at the back will take on the denominator. All right, so Jane is 1 unit, May 3 units. Let's draw. We're going to draw it backwards, isn't it? So at the end of our model drawing, we should arrive at a model which represents what they have at first. Hence, last information will be Jane. Jane will be 1 unit and, okay, let's say this is the 1 unit. And May will be 3 times of that. So roughly 3 times it's somewhat like this. Okay, I'm done with this. Let's move back step by step. What happens before this model was achieved? Jane's father gave her $90. So this is after Jane's father gave her $90. Right now, we're going to return it to the father. So probably $90 something like this. Okay, I'm not too sure, but doesn't matter. I'm going to represent it by the dotted line to show that, all right, the $90 is no longer with Jane. I'm going to return it to the father. So this is it. Okay, so I'm done. Moving back again. May spends 2/5 of her money on the tablet. This is after May spent 2/5 of her money on the tablet. So she should be left with 3/5. 1, 2, 3. Just nice. 3/5. A very nice number. Let's add back the 2/5 that she spent on the tablet. Alright, so this is the tablet. And let's move back. May and Jane had a total of 750 at first, which I can represent it by this. And I'm done. This is the model at first. If you want, you can work it forward again to double check whether it's correct. So 750 at first. May spends 2/5, so this 2 units is gone. And Jane's father gave her 90, so this 90 will be formed. In the end, Jane had 1/3, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I'm correct. So how much money did Jane have at first? This is what they are trying to find. This question mark here, small little box. Okay, based on this model, let's start to analyze. What can we say about this? We can see that 750 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units and a smaller one. What happens if we add in the $90? If we add back in the $90, this whole thing will form a equal unit as all this. So we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First step, 6 units. is equal to 750 plus $90. That will give you $840. After that, naturally, is to find out 1 unit. 1 unit will be 840 divided by 6. You should get $140. And this whole thing, it's 140 per unit. Here is 140. So can we figure out how much Jane had at first? 140 minus the 90. And for the final step, amount of money Jane had at first. So it's 140 minus 90. You'll be left with $50. And then we are done. Let's move on to question 2. Question 2. Danny spends 3/8 of his money on a dining table set, 1/4 of it on the cabinet, and 1/3 of the remainder. It's important to take note of this word, remainder, on a television and a study table. The cost of the television was $1,200, which was thrice the cost of the study table. How much did Danny pay for the dining table set? For this question, they didn't ask me to find something at first. So I'm just gonna draw my model forward from the first sentence, one information at a time until the very end. Alright, so let's draw. Danny spends 3/8 of his money on a dining table set. Okay, so first information is Danny started with this amount of money. Okay, let's utilize the space. 3 out of 8. So we're gonna partition it into 8 units. 1, 2, 3. Okay, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, one more. 8. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 8 units. And out of these 8 units that Danny had, he spent 3 of it on the dining table. So 1, 2, 3. This is on the dining set. Okay, let's move on. This is done. 1/4 of it on the cabinet. What is 1/4 of this? Well, we know that 1/4 is 1/4 of the entire thing, right? Not 1/4 of the remainder. So it's actually 2 out of 8. We can read it as 2/8, isn't it? The equivalent fraction. So Danny spent 2/8 on the cabinet. So out of this 8, 2 units on a cabinet. And I'm done with this information. And 1/3 of the remainder. Just nice. The number is very nice. This is the remainder here. Okay, this is the remainder. Alright, so let's focus on this remainder. I'm going to cover this. So out of this remainder, Danny spends 1/3 of it on television and study table. So probably over here. This is on a television and a study table. Okay, now I can remove this. Moving on. The cost of the television was 1,200, which was thrice. Thrice means 3 times the cost of the study table. Now over here, you think about it. If the cost of the television is 1,200 and this is 3 times of the study table, can we figure out the cost of the study table first? So step number 1, let me minimize this to give myself more writing space. First step, cost of study table. The cost of study table is 3 times lesser 1200 I divided by 3. That will be $400. Makes sense, right? This television set is 3 times of the study table. So this is 400. Right now, what can we say about this? Television is 1200. Study table is 400. So what is 1 unit? Okay, 1 unit will be 1200 plus the 400. So it's 1600. Per unit is $1600. So every single unit here, $1,600. Let's move on to the answer. How much did Danny pay for the dining table set? 3 units. Hence the amount of money Danny paid for the dining table set. So it's 1600 times the 3 units, right? This is what we are trying to find, these 3 units here. So times 3, you will get $4,800. Wow, must be some good quality table set. Okay, 4800. So we are done. Again, to re-emphasize, do you see how I draw my model one information at a time? Alright, regardless how long the questions are, you just focus on the drawing one chunk at a time, one set of information at a time. You build up this model until the very last information. Then you analyze, then you solve. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question 3. There were twice as many boys as girls in a school hall. After 45 boys and 20 girls left the hall, the number of girls remaining was 3/5 the number of boys who remained. How many students were there in the hall at first? Straight away, the keywords you recognize. At first. So I'm going to draw this, I'm going to try and draw this model backwards. Again, does it mean it must be drawn backwards? Most of the time, yes. If drawing backwards doesn't work, then you draw it forward. Either way, it must work. There are no two ways about it as far as PSLE question goes, all right? It's either you draw it backwards or you draw it forward. So just try it backwards first since I recognize the keywords. So what is the last information given? Okay, let me set it up first. I know that at the end of my model, I must get the starting model, okay, over here. So the last information that was given to me, the number of girls remaining was 3/5 the number of boys who remain. So the girls 3 units and the boys 5 units. So girls 3 units. Okay, 3 units, and then for the boys 5. So 5 is somewhat like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, next. What happens before this? This is after 45 boys and 20 girls left the hall. So I'm gonna add back the people, right? 45 boys and 20 girls. So let me add it back. So probably this is the 45. And then the 20. Something like this. Okay. And what happens before this? There were twice as many boys as girls in the school hall. Technically, there are twice as many boys as girls. Alright, this should be exactly half of this. Maybe let me shorten the 20 so that it looks slightly more accurate. Alright, obviously they are not drawn to scale. Okay, you know what? It doesn't really matter. Okay, let me reduce it further. Again, model drawing is very dynamic. Okay, you just need to keep editing it. All right, so what does it mean? Let's analyze. So this is what they are trying to find out. Here, the whole thing at first. There were twice as many boys as girls in the school hall. This entire thing is twice of this. What it means that, what if I take the number of girls and then I multiply it by 2? If I multiply it by 2, okay, it should give me the same number. Alright, do you get the idea what I'm trying to do here? Since there are twice as many boys as girls, at first, I take this amount, I multiply by 2, then they should be the same already. Am I right? So what can we say about this? It means 6 units plus 40 must be equals to 5 units plus 45. I say again, it means 6 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 units plus 40 is equal to 5 units plus 45. Let me draw it again for you. All right, let me draw it out. What it means is 6 units, something like this, 6 units and 40 is equal to this. What can we say about a unit here? A unit must be 5. Clear? So our first step, 1 unit is equals to 45 minus 40, which is equal to 5. Once we know that 1 unit is 5, we're gonna remove this additional part that we have drawn out for comparison. We're gonna revert back to the original model at first. So at first, it's this plus 20. Okay, now we have figured out this is 5, 5, 5. Okay, I know again it's not drawn to scale, but it doesn't matter. Follow the mathematics, follow the math. All right. How many students were there in the hall at first? Well, just add everything up, isn't it? So number of students there were in the hall at first, which is how many units? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 5 plus 20 plus the 45 here, right? 20 and 45. And that will give you 105, which is the answer. Last question. Question 4. Ren bought some purple, blue and red beads. Half of the purple beads he bought was equal to 5/8 of the red beads. The number of blue beads was 1/3 the total number of purple and red beads. If there were 10 more red beads than blue beads, how many beads did Ren buy? Seems like a long question, but it's okay. We're just gonna break it down and do it one sentence at a time, one information at a time, okay? So let's start drawing from the front. Ren bought some purple, blue, and red. So we're gonna have purple. We're gonna have the blue. And we're gonna have the red. So we're gonna draw it one at a time, all right? So don't worry too much about how complicated the question is. First information, half of the purple bits. All right, so we're going to draw one out of the 2 units. We're going to draw half. So we're going to draw 2. Now let's focus on this. Half of the purple. Half of the purple, this is equal to 5 units of the red. So the red bits, it's this. So this is equal to 5 of this. So we're going to break it up to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the 8. So again, one box of purple is equal to 5 box of the red. So I'm going to make them equal units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And red has how many units? 8 of it. So you're going to draw it this way. Okay, so let's see whether it's correct. I'm going to cover it so that it's clearer. Half of the purple, all right? This is the whole purple. I'm going to half of it. Half of it is equal to 5 units of the red. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you see what I'm trying to do here? Okay, so I'm done with this information. Next, the number of blue, it's a third of the total number of purple and red. Now, how many purple and red are there? So purple, we have 10 units. Red, we have 8 units. So in total, they have 18. So if blue bit is a third of it, what is a third of 18 units? 6. So we can draw out 6 units. So 5, 6 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 units. Then we are done. If there were 10 more red bits than blue bits, how many bits they ran by? So what can we say about here? The space here must be 10. Alright, the difference between red and blue is 10. Hence our first step, 2 units is equal to 10. 1 unit will be 10 divided by 2, which will give us 5. So every single unit here is 5. How many bits did ran by? Okay, so we can move on to the answer. We can see in total there are 10, 6, 8, which is 24 units. Number of bits ran board. So 1 unit is 5. We're going to multiply it by the total 24, and that will give you the one answer of 1, 2, 0. And there's a spelling mistake here. Units. Okay.